Funny Boy Trump Ain't No President by Stephen P. Schwartz and Glenn Adams. Fred Trump must be rolling over in his grave. Donald Trump for president? Really? Inasmuch as the presidential election process has evolved into a circus freak show invading our world through the media, social media, and your smartphone, Donald Trump is the carnival barker selling his brand of snake oil. He's a fraud, a sleaze, and a hypocrite. His smug arrogance makes you cringe and feel very, very dirty. He wears his resume on his sleeve so that we may genuflect at his feet at the arrival of His Majesty, King Donald. Are we supposed to be impressed by his bully tactics as he rolls through over and around everyone and anything to extract every crumb and morsel for his personal net gain? Poor Melania, who is certainly stunning and by all accounts charming and delightful. She has sold her soul to the devil and is damned to be the Donald's personal stylist stuck to do her magic on the fondue mop on top of his head. So, with his silver spoon in hand and his meek and modest beginnings propped up by the blood, sweat, and tears of his late father, Fred Trump's $250 million estate, watch your back because the Trump machine is coming for you. Anthony Weiner, Rosie O'Donnell, Mexican immigrants, Jorge Ramos, Lindsey Graham, the Chinese, and the Russians. Who is next on the Trump hit parade? The Donald is more concerned with aligning scapegoats with everything that's wrong with this country. Typical bully tactics and standard operating procedures for Herr Trump. While we can all agree there's a lot that needs to be done to improve the country, there's plenty that's right with this country, and we would all be better served with hearing some of the silver spoon Donald's ideas to improve our country, instead of the hate-spewed vomit that we are subjected to on a daily basis. Look at yourself. Are you perfect? I'm not. You're not. And certainly the Donald's not. If we could, we'd all take a mulligan on some of our past doings. Anthony Weiner would be the first to admit to his shortcomings. The former congressman certainly made some self-admitted mistakes and has paid dearly. So what does the Donald do? He hits on a man while down. The fact that Trump previously donated money to Weiner's campaign allows him the right to make personal, venomous attacks without any consideration to the trail that he leaves behind. Anthony has a mother, a father, a brother, a wife, a son, and many others that truly love him. Anthony Weiner has a track record of service to his constituents and his country, and regrettably fell victim to his personal demons. We choose to be sympathetic and compassionate to Anthony Weiner. Trump must be very proud. It must be easy when he can travel to the penthouse laboratory and crank out a new lab robot or another Stepford wife to make everything right with the world. With friends like Trump, who needs enemies? Trump has done more to improve the public's perception of Anthony Weiner with his senseless and demeaning attacks. Hillary Clinton? Screw her! The Donald gave lavishly to Hillary's campaigns and made sure to expect that she trot her ass to Trump's wedding to Melania, as if his donations provide him a stable of slaves to be foils to his every folly. Oh, Donald, people in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. Here comes the presidential campaign caravan. Does any one of these candidates, Republican or Democrat alike, have the smarts or the guts to throw a meaningful punch and hit Trump in his glass jaw? Right now, Trump is the champ. He's number one. He's on top. Which other Republican contender wants to be Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, or Rocky Balboa? Take off your suit, get into the ring, and show us that you've got what it takes to be the champ. Did you see the first debate? Did anyone actually think that Trump won the debate? Oh, how little Donnie loved the spotlight. Did anyone notice that Trump couldn't or wouldn't answer any of the questions directly? Could it be that he actually had no answers of substance to offer? The Donald wanted a fair debate. Well, actually a fair debate in Donald's twisted mind that wouldn't delve deeper beyond his talking points. Presidential debates aren't easy. Just ask Megyn Kelly, who is a professional journalist and asked Trump a question about his view of women based on his previous statements. Megyn shrewdly got into Trump's head and he promptly folded. He was left grasping for straws and lashed out at Rosie O'Donnell. For the next 2 weeks, it was the Megyn and Rosie show. So if this is what happens when Trump is faced with a simple question, what can we expect if President Trump is faced with an international crisis in the Middle East or North Korea or some other hotspot? Trump better bring his A game and double up on his adult diapers. Chris Wallace, another professional and well-respected journalist, asked Trump about his well-publicized business bankruptcies. The Donald, instead of providing a thoughtful answer, reverted to his bully tactics by demeaning Chris Wallace and the legacy of his father, Mike Wallace, and the lenders who propped up Trump and his failed projects. Perhaps Donald should have considered the legacy of his father, Fred, before going after Chris Wallace. It takes one to know one. Does the Donald have no fault? Does the Donald take any responsibility? Well, actually only in good times, when his ego needs to be filled with a curtain call bow. Jorge Ramos, a well-respected journalist for Univision, questioned Trump about his views on the Mexican border issue, which promptly got Ramos tossed out of the room courtesy of a nod from the Donald and his security goon squad. While being escorted out of the room, one of Trump's supporters lashed out at Ramos, a United States citizen, telling him to get out of my country. Fox News is now on the outs with Donald Trump, and he has brought his traveling roadshow to CNN. Hopefully CNN will do the right thing and maintain some journalistic integrity in its dealings with the Donald. Charity is supposed to be from the heart and for the benefit of those needing it. Think about our veterans. Think about the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Think about the victims and the first responders to the attacks of September 11, 2001. Many gave to these victims, with the thoughts of providing for those who were victimized. Not necessarily true for the Donald. His acts of charity come tethered to a camera crew for the giant check presentation. Can it ever be about anyone else? Does it always have to be about the Donald? Somehow, I'm thinking I'd much rather be in the company of Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, or Mark Zuckerberg, whose fortunes dwarf that of Donald Trump. Wouldn't we all rather be in the company of those who are much more accomplished and display a far greater sense of humility and compassion than the Donald? Donald likes to compare himself with President Ronald Reagan, his grace, his charm, and his humility. Donald Trump is no Ronald Reagan. In fact, he's not even Ronald McDonald. The history of the United States is filled with countless stories of immigrant families who came to this nation and took their meager holdings, along with a backbone of hard work, dedication, and diligence, to provide for the legacy of their children and their children's children so that they could have a better life. Certainly, we endure with many problems that need solutions, thoughtful, bipartisan solutions that will take time to craft for the long-term benefit of our nation. We have long been a country who has fought against scapegoating for the benefit of the whole, not for the few. When we meet our Maker, we are naked before the Lord and have to account for ourselves. Donald, your handlers, your machine, and those drinking the Trump Kool-Aid won't be there to prop you up. Your luxury golf courses and country clubs aren't going to help either. Being host of The Apprentice or owning the Miss America pageant or the Miss Universe pageant doesn't make you a better person than anyone else. Did you make the world a better place in your own way? The answer is no, and certainly not with a President Trump.